This week on Half Step Down, Renee and I are going to talk about band names. How they're important, how they're not important, how they fit certain bands a certain way, how you couldn't see one band with a different name. It's a fun and interesting conversation, I guarantee it. Now, I want to get to business real quick. Make sure you go to halfstepdownpod.com. You're going to find links to everything there. It's your one-stop Half Step Down shop. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can find us at Half Step Down Pod. Don't forget to check out the playlists. Don't forget to look us up on YouTube and subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers so we can get a custom URL, making it way easier for you to find our content on there. Now, we here at Half Step Down, Renee and I, we appreciate every single person that listens to the show. Now, it is our opinion, it is our show, and every once in a while, we'll say something that maybe does not agree with you. Apparently, in a past episode, I don't remember which one, we talked a little bit about a band that we felt was overrated. What you're about to hear is a voicemail that Renee received from a fan and a friend about that opinion. So please enjoy that, and then we'll get on with the show.
Hey, Real Talk. I'm listening to the backlog, as you know. I'm listening to the backlog of Half Step Down right now that I haven't gotten around to. And you need to get your boy. For real, you need to get your boy. Because if you're going to sit there and tell me that Kiss is the most overrated band of all time, you got another thing coming, pal. I'm not playing. You do not talk about Kiss that way. We can discuss this later.
So you don't want to hear it again, right?
Yeah, we're good. Sounds like your boy Jeff is upset that Kiss is overrated.
Well, I think he's angry that you said that they were overrated and that I agreed with you that they were overrated. But it's our show. We can say what we want.
We can say what we want.
And they are overrated.
Look, guys. And I knew when I said that because I've said it to other Kiss fans before, and they get all upset. Again, there are things on this show that we say that are opinion.
Yeah.
And there are things that are facts.
Yes.
It is a fact. Kiss is the most overrated band of all time. I put that down because name me 4 Kiss songs.
God save rock and roll for you.
Right?
But
doesn't matter.
That's a Walt Stallion song, though.
So, well, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I get it. I get why people like them. You know, there's a lot of fire and
makeup,
and that's cool, man.
Costumes, and yeah, that's right.
And you know what? Guar did it better. Sorry, Guar did it better.
Guar does spit out fake blood, and
Guar
hits you you're just drenched.
You're
at the
just
end
drenched
of a show
in blood. I mean, I
blood.
get it, dude. Gene Simmons is an excellent salesman.
Yeah, has a big tongue.
Has a big tongue.
Uh-huh.
You know, he's bedded a lot of women, which is good for him. Whatever, man.
Jealous. You think who do you think scored more, him or Johnny Sins?
Probably Johnny Sins. Johnny Sins has to do it for work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, you get talking about quitting your boy. I mean, this is the guy that quit DMing our group.
That's true.
We got one session out of this guy,
Yeah.
and then he quit.
So
So I don't listen to quitters.
that's right. Quitting's for quitters.
Quitting's for quitters.
Welcome
What he should do is quit listening to Kiss and listen to some better bands. Again, I'm gonna double down. This is my last thing I'll say. If you are now in a Spotify world, and you can listen to Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath.
Are you a Spotify girl in a Spotify world?
If you're a Spotify girl in a Spotify world, and you can listen to literally any other band, again, Sabbath, Maiden, Judas Priest, all superior bands.
You didn't throw the Wonder Years in there.
Well, I'm talking about bands of that kind of ilk,
okay,
right?
okay.
If you can talk to any of those, if you get to listen to any other music,
Yeah, of course.
If you only have a Kiss record, go right ahead and you
Yeah.
can party all night and part of every day or whatever
Yeah.
you want to do. But if you have a chance to listen to good music, listen to good music. Hey Jeff, why don't you listen to better bands?
That is your first session with the half step down, with the half step down group, and that'll be $500, Jeff. Welcome everyone to Half Step Down, where two aging punk rockers talk about music and pop culture. We are your hosts, Renee Grano, and the other one, Jose Martinez. How are you today?
I'm doing great, man.
Yeah, you seem better now. Now that it's out of your system, you're good. We don't have to listen to that guy anymore. Talk up a storm.
Again, man, I love him. He was a good dude. I get it. I get why people like this.
Jeff, thank you for listening to the show, by the way. I really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
that. That means a lot to us. We have a great topic today.
Let's do it.
I am very excited for this topic.
As am I.
Band names.
Ooh, band names.
Band names. And
It's a big one.
it's a big one. That's what she said. Title your next sex tape. Jose. That's very Tim Allen of you. That was even better.
Yeah.
Jose, what makes a good band name, in your opinion?
You know what, man? For me, it's got to be a package deal, right?
Okay.
It really depends. Sometimes you'll hear a name. You'll hear a name that just should not work.
Yeah.
But then you hear the band, and you're like, now I understand.
Mm-hmm. What's a good example of
So
that?
the example I put here is Weezer.
Yeah.
Weezer is a dumb name for a band.
Blink-182 is a really bad name,
Blink-182 is a terrible name for a band.
Yeah.
There are a lot of band names where it's like you. What are some that you would say are bad examples?
Well,
Or examples of, like, if you just heard the words, you'd be like, that's a terrible name for a band.
Limp Bizkit and Korn.
Limp Bizkit and Korn.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But could you imagine Weezer by any other name?
No, not at all.
It fits.
It just works. Look at what other band can you think of that can name their records the Blue Album, the Green Album, the Black Album, the White Album, the Turquoise Album, yada yada yada. Right. It's just that's my Seinfeld reference for the day. By the way,
That was a good
yada,
one.
Yada, yada. I'm
That was a
really
good one.
tired today.
It's late.
That's another
late.
quote of Seinfeld. But yeah, it's it's. I feel like a good band name or a bad band name can make or break a band, right? Because you have the option to, hey, we can think of this amazing name, or we can think of this really bad name, and as long as the music works, it'll stick, right? I was known to be like somewhat of a quote unquote music snob growing up, and the reason is because I only like Limp Bizkit and Korn.
Right.
You know, my 7th and 8th grade life was just Limp Bizkit, Zorn. Wow. Limp Bizkit and Zorn, I was going to say.
Zorn is a good one.
Zorn is a good band. That's a good name. Would you listen to a band named Zorn?
Again, if I looked at the cover of a Zorn album and there was like a fucking like a starship on it,
Yeah.
I might pick that up. I might want to listen to it.
We might have to start a band called Zorn.
Zorn, yeah.
That might be the next big hit.
Prog rock, space opera.
Yeah.
Throw a keyboard in there.
Think of like Coheed and Cambria with like, I don't know, like Yes all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Zorn, guys, look for that on the Spotify soon. It's gonna happen soon. But yeah, those are definitely things that I think make can make or break a name. Like, it really depends on your genre. But at the same time, there's been names that I've seen that I just do not want to look at. I don't even want to listen to them. Right. But we'll get into that a little later.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. This is a fun topic. This is an interesting one because we can really go in a lot of weird directions.
Yeah.
I mean, not just band names, artist names. There's just a lot here.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we have a couple of names here, different artist names. And the cool thing about band names, too, though, is that within the genre of band names, you have, like, little niches of other types of names, right? Like, for example, we have, we have here names that were, name of bands that are misspelled on purpose.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
You have bands like, what do we got here?
So you've got your classic examples, right? The Beatles, right? The BEAT, like the beat.
Yeah.
When I thought of that, I instantly thought of the Wonders or the Oneaters.
Are you? Oh, as in, I wonder what happened to the Oneaters.
Exactly. Misspelled on purpose.
Yes.
One of my personal favorites, The Descendants.
Yes.
With the E at the end instead of the A.
Uh-huh.
So you've got all sorts of just kind of like little things that kind of happen. And sometimes this is what's hard for me is, what if the Beatles had named themselves something else? Right?
Yeah.
It just sometimes it becomes so synonymous
Yeah.
that it's hard to separate.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think that kind of bodes for a lot of bands. Like, for example, I have a list here of band names with food in the title,
Okay.
right? The Smashing Pumpkins,
Good.
the Lemonheads.
Yeah.
You have bands, even make-believe bands like in the show Doug called The Beats. You remember that? Do you
I remember
that
The
band?
Beats, yeah.
I Need More Allowance.
Yeah. Where's my sock?
Yodelahee-hoo. Yeah. So the Smashing Pumpkins, by just the name itself, shouldn't be a good band, right?
I mean,
The Lemonheads is actually a really cool name.
Yeah.
But the Smashing Pumpkins, I don't know. Like, if you didn't know who the Smashing Pumpkins were, if you were in a different timeline, if you were up to like, oh, you guys have a band, like, yeah, it's called the Smashing Pumpkins. Doesn't that just kind of sound weird?
I mean, I again with the Smashing Pumpkins, they're a weird one, right?
Yeah.
Because I hear the word Smashing Pumpkins, right?
Yeah.
And I picture like a full on, like super loud, like rock band.
Yeah.
Which they can be.
Yeah.
But they've also written some really like beautiful acoustic stuff.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing an interview with them where they were basically just trying to come up with a weird name.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many bands it was just kind of like, let's put two words together. Let's just see what comes to mind. How many of them come from a story? I know Korn, that's how they got their name.
Yeah.
There were kernels of corn and some guy shit his pants. And there were kernels of corn. And
Yeah.
rather than just being revolted and throwing up, they're like, let's name our band with a K, right?
Yeah.
Which
Who do you think thought of that idea? Probably Jonathan Davis with the dreadlocks.
Or isn't one of them named Monkey?
Yeah, Monkey.
One of them's named Monkey, and one of them's named Fieldy.
Slapping the bass.
Clicky clicks.
Click clicks. He might as well just have had an upright at all times. He just never did. He basically did what an upright bass player would want to do, but he was just slapping a 6-string bass at all times.
Click, 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 click,
Yeah.
click. Amazing bass tone.
Yeah.
Right up there with Mark Hoppus. You know what I found funny?
What?
You know what I found funny? This is Marta started watching the show on Disney Plus, Big Shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's John Stamos,
Okay.
who looks the same. It's fucking infuriating.
Yeah.
But
Because he's so good looking.
because he's just so good looking.
Yeah.
He plays a basketball coach who's got a temper. Gets kicked out of, I think, NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
Has to teach at an all-girls school. And his last name is Korn with a K. And I wonder if the dude that wrote that character, when they're angry, just puts on, like, Follow the Leader or Life is Peachy.
Would you believe me if I told you that my history professor last name was also Korn, Korn?
I would believe you.
That was his last. That's right. Now that you mentioned that, I was like, oh, his name was Korn as well. He loved me too. He was rad.
I want to. What was the name of the song that Korn had where it was just Jonathan Davis scatting? Yeah. What was that name? What was the name of that song? Shit.
Oh man, I don't think it was called Shit.
No,
But
that's what it sounded like.
Oh, okay.
No.
It was off the first record, I think, right? Or was it Life is Peachy? One of the two.
Was it like? I want to say it was the second one. 'Cause
Yeah,
it
it was
wasn't the
probably
first
Life is
one.
Peachy.
That okay? Can we talk about Korn for a second?
Sure.
It was Life is Peachy. Let me see.
The first record, and then you had
Twist.
Okay. Can we pause this real quick so we can listen to that?
We're gonna listen to it before we leave.
Sorry. Okay.
No, yeah, Korn was one of those bands. That's one of the things where it's kind of like, that's a band name where it's like, especially when you're a kid. Nowadays, it's not so much a problem.
Mm-hmm.
When you're gonna ask your mom, "Can I have some money for a CD?" and she asks you, "What CD are you buying?" Korn, with a K,
Mm-hmm.
and you buy the T-shirt, Korn, with the backwards R,
Yeah.
and you're just like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like you're listening to, and then you play Twist
Yeah.
and your parents are just like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah.
This is a phase, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a phase,
And it was a phase.
It was a phase.
It was a
Although
phase.
that first album holds a special place in my heart.
I love that first record.
That first record.
Yeah. That first record.
I will go on.
It's funny you mentioned that because Follow the Leader is probably holds a special place in my heart.
Those first 3 Korn records
Yeah.
for me, because those were like, I remember being really proud of myself for finding a band that wasn't on the radio.
Yeah.
And then about
And
a
then
year
Freak on
later,
Unleashed came around.
they were on the radio.
They were
all
on the
time.
radio.
And I was just like, damn it.
Yeah. That was a good band.
But they were, yeah, like, I mean,
You know who else, looking back at it, how much people you either loved or hated nu metal, and Limp Bizkit was like at the forefront of nu metal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you either loved them or you hated them at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, growing up, it's not that I don't hate them, I don't love them, but I appreciate Nookie. Like, I appreciate Nookie. I appreciate Break Stuff. I appreciate Significant Other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that whole record I appreciate. But it's funny because it's funny because I say I appreciate it, but I think I only listen to like 4 songs. And it's just the singles, right? Like, it's just
Okay.
the hits and the one with Method Man. That's basically it. Because after that, when they said, hey, outside of band names, this can be in a totally different episode too. Album names, right?
Album names
but then
are tough.
look at Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water by Limp Bizkit. If you didn't know who they were, would you pick that album up?
no.
Yeah.
And the cover was like 2 weird alien looking things.
Yeah.
Imagine, here's the situation I'm foreseeing, right? Because that was also at a time when you had to buy the motherfucking CD, right?
Yeah.
How many dads were at a Best Buy? Kid hands them this. They
Warehouse
look at
music.
that
At the time, they were at a
music.
warehouse music. Yeah.
Look at it. Limp Bizkit with a Z.
Yeah.
You know, what was it? Chocolate Starfish.
And the Hot Dog Flavored Water.
You look at the CD.
Yeah.
You look at your kid. You look at the CD. And you're just like, we're not buying you Jenkos anymore. Mm-hmm. It's like, you're going to go home. You're going to put on some khakis. Mm-hmm. This is terrible.
Yeah.
What was on? What song? Was that the one with... Do 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 do.
No, that was also Significant Other.
Significant Other.
That was
I don't-
rearranged.
It's rearranged.
Yes.
What a
that
great
was a
bass
single.
line.
Yeah.
Great bass line.
Yeah.
I've always
West Borland is it West Borland? Is that
West
right?
Borland,
Well, yeah.
dude. That band,
Yeah. Amazing musicians.
Fucking great
All of them.
musicians.
John Otto.
John
was a
Otto on
great-
drums.
yeah.
I mean, he laid down some
Yeah.
fucking great beats.
Yeah, he did.
Was
and
it-
then
who
he
was
had DJ Lethal.
DJ Lethal.
Yeah. Bring it on. Yeah,
I
that-
mean, fucking A, dude. If it were not for fucking Fred Durst, man, those guys would have fucking killed it.
you know that kudos to him for. I feel like we've had this conversation
We
on the
have.
show already, right?
But Fred Durst, man, like God bless him. God bless that man,
White shorts and
dude.
and
The Red Yankees
yeah.
can. Did I? I mean, I've told you about when I was in Belgium
No.
with. Okay, so
the new metal band.
the new metal band. They had it down.
The cover band. Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, you told me about.
But yeah,
that.
Limp Bizkit, man, that was one of them.
Yeah,
That was,
absolutely. Yeah. Then you have like names like band names with numbers in the title. Mm-hmm. You have like bands like Sum 41,
okay, yeah.
Blink 182,
Blink 182.
right? And those bands are like Sum 41. I think. I don't know. I know that Blink 182. I did hear this story. So I read this somewhere where they said that the original name of the band, which is Blink, but there was already a band in Europe already called Blink, so they were trying to sue them because I think they already come out with like Cheshire Cat or Buddha, whichever first record came out,
Yeah.
or their demos are already making traction. So they're like, instead of them suing us, why don't we just put the number 182 behind it?
Okay.
That's literally the only reason why they come up with Blink 182. So I thought that's funny, but then you have that band is just it's so big. It's probably one of the biggest. I would say one of the biggest rock bands around. Like probably, I don't know if I would say of all time, but they definitely have. Dude, the fact that Travis Barker and obviously well because they have one of the best bass players of all time.
The best,
You're right.
right? Let's be honest.
Mark Hoppus.
Mark Hoppus of Blink 182.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing.
Plus 44. That was
Plus 44.
maybe that's Mark Hoppus' thing. I think he just likes numbers.
Well, I mean, I think of like Sham 69. They were like an old punk band.
Yeah. The B-52s.
B-52s, 7 Seconds.
Yeah. 30 Seconds to Mars.
30 Seconds to Mars. Just a lot of these kind of things
That's
where
a rad name though. 30 Seconds.
30 Seconds to Mars is a rad name.
Yeah, that's a rad name.
Every time I read about Jared Leto, I hear he's more of an asshole. I hear he's just Every time I read
Yeah.
something about him, they say he's just an ass.
Didn't he win an Oscar?
Did he win an Oscar?
Or
He
was
might
he
have.
nominated for
He's
an
a hell of an actor.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. He was the one that got his ass kicked in Fight Club, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He wanted to destroy something beautiful.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Dude, that fucking weird. I literally, so I was playing Red Dead Redemption with
Uh-huh.
my buddy Dave.
Is it the guy that was playing D&D with us?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Dave
And
is
he,
cool.
he listens
Cool
to the
kid.
show. Shout out, Dave. How you doing?
Shout out, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. He will often send me notes like, "Hey man, you correct us."
Yes.
I've said it a couple times.
Yes.
But I accidentally ran into some person's horse. I killed the horse and killed the guy in Red Dead.
Uh-huh.
And I used that same line. I just wanted to destroy something beautiful.
I just want... something that I always do is when I go to my barber, I'm sure I've said this a bunch of times on the show, is when he goes, "Hey, are we doing the same thing as usual or same thing as always?" And I go, "Just make it nice and neat."
Yes, you've told me this.
Oh, okay.
But no, that's good. That's
And
good.
he always says, "Really again?" I was like, "Yeah, again."
Okay, so we've got these different names, right?
Yes,
So you got
yeah.
7 seconds, you got all these things. When it fits, it works. Can we think of something where the name just doesn't fit, or the name is just terrible? Like when I think of just terrible names, I think of like Hoobastank.
That was a ska band.
They were a ska band for a while. I saw them open for Homegrown.
Yeah. Damn, Homegrown.
Yeah,
That's a name drop.
That's
I
an old.
remember when Homegrown was supposed to be like the next big thing, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I guess they had Surfer Girl. That was a pretty big song.
That was a good song.
I mean, they had a lot of like they were like
They're very niche, right? Yeah.
they were like that era of
Yeah.
punk rock. Kind
Yeah,
of,
absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
pop punk kind of band.
I actually think, and I'm sorry if the audience would get upset with me here, but I think Fall Out Boy is a name that shouldn't have worked.
So that's another one. So there were a couple. I was actually going to tell this story. That's one that I think I remember one of the people in the band saying that they didn't have a name, but they were already playing shows, and that someone in the crowd yelled out "Fall Out Boy" and it stuck. I think of two stories that I remember back when Behind the Music was a show that you would watch on VH1.
Yeah. What's VH1?
VH1 was Old People MTV.
Oh, okay. What's MTV?
MTV was like YouTube, but you didn't get to choose what videos were on, and you just had to wait.
Ah.
It was called cable
Oh.
in the late 80s, early 90s.
Can you stream cable?
No, you would
Oh.
have to, it was like television, like over the air.
What's a
but
television?
through a cable.
Oh, that's the stuff that I can put my Fire Stick on.
Yeah, you can put your Fire Stick onto
okay. TV, huh?
television.
Ah.
But I remember watching, of all the bands, Matchbox 20.
Matchbox,
okay?
yes.
And they were talking about they didn't have a name, and I remember this to the day I like, because it was the singer Rob Thomas of Santana's Smooth, the best song ever written.
That album,
Fucking like 10
yeah.
Grammys or whatever.
Jeez.
I saw a shirt one time and I was gonna buy it, but I didn't. It said, "I would rather be at home listening to Smooth by Santana and Rob Thomas."
That's a banger, dude.
That's a banger, dude.
That's a banger.
It's just like the ocean under the moon.
Yeah.
But they were talking about they were in the studio, and they were gonna name their band Wood. WOOD.
Matchbox 20?
Matchbox 20.
Just name it Wood?
Wood.
Huh.
And he's like, we were all on board. Like, ladies and gentlemen, Wood. And I think it was a record producer like, "You're not fucking naming your band Wood. Get the fuck out of here." Like, you guys some kind of idiots? Like,
yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, you get into a band, you don't really know what you're going to name yourself. You think
Yeah.
something's cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that outside influence.
Well, like Queen.
Queen, right?
Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that works.
Yeah, it does.
That
Yeah.
works way better.
It fits exactly to what the band does, right? Yeah, exactly.
So another one, like Tool.
that doesn't work.
That shouldn't work.
Yeah, it shouldn't
But
work.
then you listen to the band and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll let it go.
Actually, I don't think Tool works regardless. But because of the band, it just, like, okay, people just forget it.
So that's an example. You're right. Like, if that's just a dumb name for a band,
Yeah.
but because the band is so strong,
Yeah.
it tends to work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. One of the weirdest names, I will give you this one. Check this. I don't know if the audience has. I'm sure they do, but you and I are big Coheed and Cambria fans.
Mm-hmm.
That is a band that I did not listen to for a long time because of the name. That's actually one that to me I was just like, I can't do. I can't even pronounce it. Like Coheed and Cambria or Coheed and Cambria. Yeah. Another one was Alex is on Fire or Alexis on Fire. That just deterred me away from those two bands.
There are certain bands, where the name is off-putting.
Yeah.
That I understand.
Yeah.
Coheed and Cambria, for sure.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like, what the fuck is this?
Yes.
And I've said this story. Even like the first song I heard was A Favorite House Atlantic. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to say this sentence, and on record it's going to say, hey, have you heard the new Coheed and Cambria song, A Favorite House Atlantic? If I were to say that to someone, they'd be like, are you just fucking putting words together?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But getting into the band and like slowly kind of following through, it's like, okay, now I kind of understand it.
Yeah.
But even for me, like the first time I heard that song, I was like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like the melody and that hook that I'm like, okay, I fucking like this song.
Have you ever heard that new single from I Can Make a Mess Like Nobody's Business? An oak tree stands behind the living room.
No, is that a real thing?
That's a real thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, now let's talk about another aspect of a band name, right? Everyone that's been in a band has had this discussion, right?
Yeah.
You come up with a name. Mm-hmm. Now you got to put it on shit.
Yeah.
You got to come up with a logo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up. I Can Make a Mess Like No One's Business. Yeah. What does their logo look like? Describe
I Can Make a Mess Like Nobody's Business. Well, I think he changed it to I Can Make a Mess, but I Can Make a Mess Like Nobody's Business was the name of the band. That was the name of the album. The logo, I don't know if there's no succinct logo to the band. It is a solo project from Ace Enders by the early November.
Okay.
But the first record that they did, in my opinion, was amazing from start to finish. The rest of them, it's whatever. But that first record was great.
Okay.
But there is a name on that album that's called An Oak Tree Stands Behind My Living Room or something like that. But if you look at the cover, I think the cover is some dude with like a TV on his head. Mm-hmm. I believe that's and he has a rake in his hand or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the album. If I didn't know that Ace Enders was Ace Enders' side project at that time, I would have never listened to it.
Well, so sometimes I feel you on that one.
But there's no logo. There's no logos.
Logo, yeah. When I looked it up, it was just like typeface or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, so for example, sometimes you'll go a little like with song names, right?
Yeah.
So I thought of the Pearl Jam song, "Elderly Woman Behind the Counter in a Small Town," right? I wonder if like sometimes you come up with these names and you're just like, this is going to be a placeholder, and you just kind of keep it, or sometimes maybe this has I don't know in the case of this particular song, but it's just it's one of those things, right? Like you've got to be kind of careful about it. But Pearl Jam also, like Even Flow, Yellow Lead Better, like they tend to play around with the names of this stuff.
You know who else does that too is Fall Out Boy. Like Fall Out Boy actually has some of those names. I don't know any off the top of my head.
No, I was gonna mention. So Fall Out Boy they were the band that I felt like would name shit. They would name things for the sake of like, look at how clever I am.
Yes.
I'm gonna look up some of these names because I think you're absolutely right.
Well, before you do that, can you read that middle one right after it says "The Best Money Happiness"? After "An Oak Tree Stands Behind My Living Room," right after that, what is the name of that song title there, Jose?
But when the little fellow came close and put both arms around his mother and kissed her in an appealing, boyish fashion, she was moved to tenderness. That's fucking obnoxious. That's fucking obnoxious.
You think that was just okay, let's hold it. That's the name of this record. The name of this track.
This brings me to a kind of
It's a good track though, by the way.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
This brings me to a point I was making, I think, about the emo era. Mm-hmm. Where I think when emo as we know it started, right? Because the whole history of emo goes back to like Minor Threat. So, right?
Yeah.
So when you get to what we consider emo now, the bangs,
Yeah, the drive-through record.
the
phase.
drive-through records phase.
Yeah.
I think when it started, it was an honest attempt at sad kids writing sad songs.
Mm-hmm.
Because before emo was emo, if you were sad, you wrote a sad song.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
This is what you do.
Yeah.
But once people started recognizing, and I'm just going to be honest, once dudes realized, if I can make clever sad songs, girls will want to date me, then it became a contest of who can make the cleverest, saddest sounding song.
Sure.
Fall Out Boy did have a lot of those titles of songs that were like, I feel like you're just trying to be clever for
Yeah.
clever's sake.
Yeah. But it worked.
It worked, and some of those early Fall Out Boy songs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they were great.
Yeah.
They were one of those bands that, like, I didn't mind these guys. At a certain point, I don't know what happened, but they became like a whole different thing, and
Yes.
I don't know what it is.
They
Just became huge, right?
Yeah, they started to, they went with the times, man. They kind of just went on. They changed their sound. They changed it to what hit, and it worked. That's a band that's still around, and it still works.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't listened to much. I know those first.
Take This to Your Grave is
that was the first one.
Yeah,
right?
that was the first. I know the first one was. There was a different one, but Take This to Your Grave was like their first record that kind of got them on the map. Yeah.
Okay.
That was their best record in my opinion.
Okay. I don't know because I've never owned a Fall Out Boy record.
Yeah.
I just know like they would come in and out, and there was one of those things where if someone would play them like at a party or like like it was on a mixtape,
Dead on
like,
Arrival.
this is enough.
Yeah.
So like Dead on Arrival is a good one. A little less 16 Candles, a little more. I can't remember the rest of it. I'm just seeing it here.
There was another one called Saturday. That was a good one.
So yeah, they now that I'm looking at it, maybe our lawyers made us change the name of the song. Maybe they weren't as fucking. Now that I'm thinking, maybe it wasn't the song titles; it was their little lyrics. They would have these little like playful things.
Oh, there goes the fireworks.
There it goes.
There it goes. Can I just say for you guys who, for the audience, and I mean this in no disrespect to anybody, but if you're popping fireworks before 4th of July, you're being a dick. Because there's dogs that freak out. My dog freaks out because of the fireworks.
No.
It's not like I can tell him, hey, don't freak out because they're not going to get you. I can't talk to my dog.
Right.
My dog doesn't understand what I'm saying. So don't be a dick.
Right. No, I agree. I agree.
That's a PSA.
Going back to the logo, right?
Yes.
How important do you feel like a logo is to a band?
So it's not necessarily how important a logo is to a band. I think it depends on how influential that logo got to get the band to where they're at. That actually doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. I don't know if I make... Okay, let me rephrase this. A logo doesn't make or break a band.
Right. Okay.
But there are specific logos that when looking at them, you're just like, that's the Misfits or the, stuff, right? That's Dead Kennedys or whatever. But maybe they just got lucky? They just got the right logo?
So one of the things...
Because I would say that it's not important, right? But how do I say it? Do I make any sense? I don't know if I make any sense. But
so I think what you're trying to say is sometimes a logo or like a specific album cover or something, sometimes those images take on a life of their own beyond.
The
so
Rolling
the Misfits,
Stones, the Misfits,
Dead Kennedys, all of those are great
Even
examples.
Milo from the Descendants, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So like, I mean, everyone knows that Misfits skull,
Yeah.
the Metallica with the M and the A with the points, right? Those things sometimes take on a life of their own to the
Correct.
point where they become like a fashion item.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas with modern bands, I don't see that as much. And maybe that's because that happens with time.
Yeah.
Or it's just like with the Misfits, it's not even necessarily the name of the band, it's that skull, right? It's with the Dead Kennedys, it's not necessarily the name of the band, but it's that DK, that little
DK,
logo that
yeah.
you can... it's something you can draw on a notebook real
Yeah.
easy,
Yeah.
and it sticks.
Yeah.
But I don't see that with like modern bands, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't remember. Like I'm trying to think of a band like that's recent or like contemporary where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember their logo. And I wonder if that's just because it's less important.
I don't think it's because it's less important, because not every band has a distinctive logo, right? But the ones that hit just kind of hit. I think those are just those logos are just kind of found a way, just kind of went on their own, you know, and just I don't think any of the bands really thought that the Rolling Stones' tongue was going to be a big hit.
Right.
I just don't think there's been a band big enough that gets them to do that sort of logo,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That gets them to that logo, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Because look at Obey. Like Obey, the logo for Obey, everybody knows what that is.
Yeah,
You know, everybody knows the Obey logo.
That's
right?
true. That's true.
Yeah. But doesn't necessarily mean that you know the brand or you like the brand. You just happen to know that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't think it plays a big part on a band.
Mm-hmm.
I think the name plays a bigger part than the logo does. Yeah.
All right. No, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. So what do you all right? Are you of the school of thought where the band needs to come from, like the name needs to come from a story? Or are you the kind of guy that thinks we're just going to need to pick something that works?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
We've both been in punk bands. I've been in metal bands, punk bands, hardcore bands, ska bands, right? We've been in a lot of different bands. How significant is your band name? Do you remember? Like, hey, we should make. Why is this the name of the band? You know what I mean?
So for me, it's always been like, just name it whatever.
Yeah.
Or someone will say something, and we're like, there you go. For pretty much every band I've ever been in has been like, well, we need a name. What are we going to call ourselves? And then someone throws out a bunch of stuff, and then eventually everyone just agrees.
Yeah.
But then maybe that's because we were never in a situation where we had a story. They were like, oh, well, this is what means there. Or this is like, we were all there at this, so this reminds us of that thing.
Yeah.
I always think of like Jimmy Eat World. He talks about how I think his little brother drew a picture of him eating the world, and it said Jimmy Eat World, and that's where they got their name.
The only significant name that I remember creating in my as a band in high school was Since '88.
Okay.
And the only reason it was Since '88 is because all four of us were born in the year 1988. That was literally the only like significant name of a band that I've ever had. Yeah. Well, I guess Norm and I, but that's kind of dumb too. But I guess Since '88 would be the only significant one. Yeah.
And I think like for most, so like when I was looking at band names and like logos, obviously metal has really powerful band names.
Yeah.
Logos are big. Like metal T-shirts have a certain.
Yeah.
But like I remember like seeing the Behind the Music Again for Anthrax, and Scott Ian was in high school, saw the word Anthrax in a dictionary and said, "That's cool."
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Yeah. That was it.
Like that was it.
Yeah.
He just picked it.
Yeah.
I know.
And that's so funny because it's like, well, Anthrax is bad.
Yeah.
right.
Right? Well,
Yeah.
that was the other thing. He read it and he's like, "Oh, it's like a biological weapon." That's metal.
Yeah.
And then I like Metallica. The story behind that was that it was like a promoter was putting together a compilation CD,
Okay.
and he was going to call the compilation Metallica. And Lars was like, "You should name it something else," and then took the name.
Ah.
And then I think that's how the guys.
He just happened to get lucky.
Yeah, he just happened to get really
Yeah.
lucky on that one.
That's awesome. You know, metal bands, I would think you're pretty much set in stone when it comes to picking a metal band. Like picking a name for a metal band, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with me there?
I would say that like when you establish yourself as a metal band and you have the name, you're pretty much stuck in terms of you're going to be playing metal.
Yeah.
Maybe that's changing a little, but metal is very like, if you're in a metal band, you're going to play distorted guitar, it's going to be loud, it's going to be fast.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't transcribe this as an acoustic song. Is what
Right.
you're saying.
Slayer is not going to walk out with like a Martin
Yeah.
acoustic and they're gonna
Play Rain and Blood or
Yeah, they're gonna
something.
play Rain and Blood.
Yeah.
You're stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, if I were to be in a metal band, I would probably just pick a black magic card, because in Magic in Magic the Gathering there's 5 different colors in the game, and the swamp, like the black cards are like all about death and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I would just pick a magic card. You have bands like names like Buried Alive, Animate Dead, to go Reanimate, I don't know, Gravecrawler. Like those
Right.
are just names that are like those are just metal.
And like so
Right?
like
Like all that's the name of our metal band. Just pick a magic card from its history.
well, there's a lot of metal bands. So like Gorgoroth is a black metal band.
Yeah.
Gorgoroth, I think, was a location in the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
There's like Gojira was the name of like a Godzilla
Yeah.
like villain. Like so,
Yeah.
a lot of that comes from that kind of nerd
Yeah,
world,
from
right?
all that nerd world. Yeah.
Manowar, like
Yeah.
just crazy shit like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Speaking of those kind of things, Jose, let's play a game. Okay, I'm gonna name you
Okay.
bands.
Okay.
I either found these or I created these.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me if these are names of bands that you would listen to
Okay.
just by hearing the names.
Okay.
Okay? Let's start off with, give me 1 second here. This is great podcasting. I lost my place on my computer here. How about the name Indigo?
Just on the name of the band. Mm-hmm. Pass.
Life from the Loam.
Life from the Loam.
Life from the Loam.
Loam.
Yeah, Life from the Loam.
I'm out.
Okay. How about the color navy blue?
I'm out.
Okay. How about the name American football?
I would give them a listen.
Okay. How about modern baseball?
I know they're a band because I saw them open for the Descendants. But
I love modern baseball.
I would listen. I would give them a shot.
Sorority noise.
I'd give that a shot.
Okay. How about Canadian softball?
I'd give that a shot too.
Spanish volleyball?
Yeah, I'd give that a shot.
Okay. The Great American Bash.
I'm out.
Okay. Gatsby's American Dream.
I would give them a shot, but they'd have to impress me right away.
Okay. How about Real Estate? That sounds like it would actually be a band name. I just made that up.
I think there's a band called Sunny Day Real Estate.
Oh, okay. Well, how about just Real Estate, though?
Sure.
Okay.
I was a realtor at one point.
Okay. So that would be the only reason?
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason I'm saying these, it's just like, it doesn't matter. Okay, how about If That Betrays?
Just the name, right? I'm not looking at any kind of thing.
Nothing, just the name.
I'd give it a shot.
Okay, you give it that a shot? So we can basically think of any name that we want, and most of these can just be band names.
I think anything,
Right?
right? Anything can be a band name.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where when the two things work and they get married in a union. So like Fall Out Boy makes sense. Those
Yes.
guys sound like that. The
Yeah.
Descendants make sense. It sounds like that.
Yeah.
Weezer, I think we talked about. That's like the ultimate thing. Slayer would not be the same if there were anything different. Although, so here's an interesting one. So Pantera, right?
Yeah, Pantera.
Okay. So Pantera's first album is like glam metal.
Yeah.
And they completely changed their sound, did not change their name. But that's a thing where it kind of works on both, right?
Yeah.
So Pantera, I could see it being a really lame, like cheesy 80s metal band.
Yeah.
But it also does work in that super tough fucking mouth for the war.
Well, look at the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees' first record wasn't disco.
What was it? Was his first record? What was
The
that?
Bee Gees record was more like a soft rock album,
Okay.
but it wasn't any disco.
Okay. Okay.
Have you ever heard the Bee Gees' first record?
No.
You get, take a listen. If anybody, go take a listen to the Bee Gees' first record. It's totally throws you off. Yeah.
And that's like that's a thing. Like art, there's certain artists that can do that, right?
Yeah.
So like you think of like Radiohead, right? Mm-hmm. Completely changing their sound, to something else.
Yeah.
And that's a band named after a song, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like there's
the story so far is named after a song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's also something I think is really popular too. Is just naming your band after a band that you guys all that you all love and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You all So that's pretty cool too. You know what I think is actually really cool is the idea of not making a band name but just keeping your name or like your stage name, right? You have like David Bowie, Bob Marley and the Wailers,
right.
Lauryn Hill, like all those artists are synonymous with their styles of music, but they never, but your name can also be your band name, and that's pretty cool too, because do you really want to listen to a band or an artist named Rene Grano? You know what I'm saying?
So,
or like Jose Martinez and Rene Grano, like that just doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean,
so there's also names out there that just kind of go with it. Like, man, that makes sense. I'll just keep my name.
Yeah, and well, that's one of those things where like if you are, if you're like a solo artist or you're doing like certain kind of things that'll like work, like Prince like it kind of makes sense. Cher, right? Yeah.
Bjork. Madonna, Bjork. Yeah.
So I mean, it really is. It's this interesting kind of thing, and what hits, and what doesn't.
The biggest one is Beyonce. That girl's that artist. I mean, Beyonce is. Kudos to Beyonce for doing what she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Beyonce. I am Beyonce.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she came out of like Destiny's Child and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird. Can we think of a band where you feel like the name brought them down? Like they would have made it had they not had that dumb name. Or they would have been bigger had it not been for that dumb name.
That's a good question. Oh, man, that's... Off the top of my head, I don't really know. Do you have one? I don't really know. Right off the top of my head,
I'm trying to think, because, I mean, there's got to be... I know there's... So the reason I bring that up is because I remember this band name. And this is... I put it down on a list of just great band names that I thought were fucking hilarious.
Oh, I do. I have one.
What is it?
You, Me, and Everyone We Know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, dumbass name. Yeah. Maybe they should have been better under something else. Yeah. But, like, for mine, I remember... I don't remember where I first saw this. I want to say I saw a flyer for these guys.
Okay.
But these guys would never make it with his name. The name of the band was Fuck You and the Shut Ups.
Yeah, that's all bad.
So it's like that's just, but that's a fucking great name for a band.
Oh, that's an amazing name. But
you're never gonna get booked anywhere.
Yeah. Can you imagine a co-headline show with Fuck You and the Shut Ups and You, Me, and Everyone We Know?
Yeah,
and then I Can Make a Mess Like Nobody's Business is opening for them.
That would be a weird one. But I'd go. I'd go to that show.
Yeah. Before we end the show, before we go to our next segment, why don't we talk about some band names that you remember growing up in high school? What are some of the names that you remember in some of the bands that you were in?
Bands that I was in?
Yeah, because I have a few, or just bands that you remember in high school, like band names. I remember, I remember a handful, so I'm just kind of curious if you remember yours.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first band I was in was Extortion with an X.
Ah, solid. Solid.
Dash.
I think
extortion.
Every time someone were to say extortion, I just throw like the devil's.
You throw the devil sign.
The devil sign up.
I think I've said this on the podcast before. But there's some girl out there that got that logo tattooed on them.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
So I remember Extortion.
Okay.
Third Class Citizen. Insipid.
I remember that. Was that a band that you were in?
Yeah.
Okay.
These are all bands that I've been in.
Okay.
What else were we? Okay, so there's Third Class Citizen. There was Insipid. There was. Those are the three main ones I can remember.
Okay.
And then there's like other bands I've been in. Finding Chocho, which we named after finding my uncle. But we were told very early on, Bongo helped make the logo for that. And he goes, are you guys sure you want to be named that? Because if you look up Chocho online, you get porn. And it's like, aha. I remember bands like the Saps. They were big at our high school. I remember my friend was in a band called Redemption. That he made a GeoCities website for.
Oh, interesting.
It was not. I mean, here's the thing. I had a lot of friends with GeoCity website names.
Sure.
One of my buddies, we kind of started a project, and his nickname was Baboso, and he embraced it. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm Baboso," and he would write songs as Baboso.
Yeah, interesting. For me, I would probably say, let's see, since '88, there was a band called From Nowhere, which was terrible. Tomorrow's Another Broken Dream. That was another band I was in. There was a band that was Lifia, but that was an acronym for Love is Faint and All. Norm and I, which is the last band I was in. We had, what else? Emerson, which is another band I was in. Sailors on Air Balloons. Light Post Boulevard. Those are some names that those are bands that I was in. Other bands that I remember in high school, you had like The Evicted, Exvited, Scotch on the Rocks with an X. What else did we have? Those are the ones that I can remember off the top of my head. But the band name, after this conversation, I don't know if it can really make or break a band. You just gotta have some good stuff. Right? And I think it doesn't. I think the name will just follow.
I think it just kind of comes down.
Unless you're you mean everyone we know and fuck you on the shut ups.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it can only help, right?
Yes, it can only help. Correct. Yeah. So solid. Do you have any final thoughts before we head into our last segment of the night?
I mean, if you're gonna go out there and you're gonna name yourself, you're gonna name your band, I would just argue, man, like just be prepared. Because once something sticks, it sticks.
That should be the name of our band.
So
something sticks, it sticks.
Yeah, I mean, because look, man, fucking A, like.
Well, look at it this way: how long did it take us to think of the title for the show, for the podcast?
Took a minute.
Took a minute, and then we're just like, well, let's just call it Half Step Down.
Yeah.
That just makes the best sense. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, if sometimes when something sticks and you're going to fight for years to get rid of that stigma. So I think of, this is one that I think I've mentioned on the show, but Joji. You know Joji?
Yeah.
He's like an R&B, hip-hop artist. I know him as Filthy Frank. Do you remember Filthy Frank from the internet?
No.
So Filthy Frank was this it was Joji.
Okay.
Back when he was just making YouTube videos.
Okay.
And they were just these fucking ridiculous, offensive, funny as fuck at the time. Like, it was just him being a fucking weirdo online. But now, you get stuck in that mold and you want to try to do something else.
Yeah.
It's hard, right? Like, this happens a lot, in metal bands. I think of Metallica.
Yeah.
Load and Reload.
Yeah.
Again, not bad albums.
No.
Maybe they just want to slow down. It's like, look, man, let me just see what the guitar. I have an $8,000 Gibson Les Paul here. Let me see what it sounds like clean.
Yeah.
Let me just see what it sounds like clean.
Yeah.
Or maybe just with slide overdrive.
Yeah.
The fans no. Yeah. So you just gotta be careful about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely do. I'm so glad we didn't name the show Punk Rock Cousins.
Punk Rock Cousins.
Because then we'd have just been stuck with punk rock.
Punk Rock Cousins.
Yeah.
Primo Supremo.
I actually would have taken Primo Supremo.
I just came up with that right now.
Yeah, I like that. Why didn't you think of that before? What's wrong with you?
I don't know, man. We weren't thinking about it. I was trying to think of something, and it just came to me.
Yeah.
When inspiration strikes, it strikes.
It strikes. Thank God it is now on the airwaves.
Yeah.
And now people can take our name. Primo Supremo. I like that.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like it.
That's a good one.
Why don't we head over to the final segment of the night? The Wind Down.
Okay.
Where we talk about headlines or articles that we deem worthy enough to talk about.
Okay.
Want to do that?
Let's talk about
Sure.
it. All right, let me ask you this. Let me tell me how you feel about this.
Okay.
This is something I saw a while back, but okay. There's a Teenage Bottle Rocket. This is a band we both like. There's a promoter in Florida
Okay.
starting to do shows again. Right, shows are coming back.
Uh-huh.
And the promoter is making it so that if you can show a vaccination card, it's $19. If you're not vaccinated, it's $1,000.
Oh, wow.
What's your thought on that? What do you think? I think that's hilarious.
That is hilarious. That you know what? There's a cafe. I saw this article, or I think I forgot where I saw it at, but there's a cafe up in San Bernardino County where the owner says, if you walk into my cafe with the mask on, I'm charging you $5.
Oh my
There's
God.
a $5 entry fee to walk in with the mask on, because he says it's my restaurant. I can do what I want, basically.
Yeah.
And then he said, it is what it is. You don't have to come eat at my cafe,
That's true.
right?
That's
You don't
true.
have to. I'm gonna get other people that are gonna eat in my cafe,
Right.
right? That's a very conservative area. The county, I guess, San Bernardino County, I guess, is pretty conservative.
Oh yeah.
So it's, I guess it's the same thing as this promoter. He's like, I'm gonna find people that are gonna buy these tickets for $19.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then guess what? I make a Gizo. I'm cool with that.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like,
here's the thing.
It's crazy
You're not gonna pay $1,000 to see
Teenage
Bottle
no,
Rocket. You know what I mean?
Well, it depends if you're a huge Teenage Bottle Rocket fan.
I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Look at Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny is selling like crazy. His tickets are like through the roof.
Yeah, but Bad Bunny, that's like a major pop star, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're talking about Teenage Bottle Rocket, a band that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where,
That's
where
like if,
an
like, the Get-
appropriate
yeah.
price is $19.
Yeah.
Not
That's
that I love that band.
Yeah, it's like watching Melon the Get Up Kids, and like
Yeah.
Teenage Bottle Rocket. I would probably pay
Yeah.
like $35.
Yeah, totally.
I would
totally.
not pay $1,000 for something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's an interesting world we're living in. It's kind
it
of
really
coming
is. It really is. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about. So, we just did an anime episode.
Yes. If you guys haven't heard it, please go back and listen to it.
Go back and listen to
That
it.
that one was a lot of fun. Definitely a great episode, but definitely out there.
It's out there. We get some weird places.
Yeah, we got to some weird places. Yeah,
But
that's the nature of the beast, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of the nature of the episode.
And one of the things we didn't really touch upon there is that as much as we're getting a lot of stuff from there, right?
Yeah.
Now you're really starting to see that kind of cross-pollination of the two. I think I've mentioned this early on, but one of the things that excites me the most about the influence of anime on Western world is the kind of melding of the two that will inevitably happen, right? You're starting to see it, but this is an interesting one. There's a Lord of the Rings anime movie called The War of the Rohirrim that's coming out.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
officially licensed by J.R. Tolkien's estate,
Oh,
but is going to be an anime produced film.
interesting.
I know,
I think there's a Magic the Gathering one too, isn't there?
and that's the thing. So you're
Yeah.
starting to see. I mean, whenever they talk about Western anime,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
see Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
But I know there's I know there's a Dota anime
Uh-huh.
that are I think it's westernly produced, but it's like in that anime style. Netflix had that Voltron series that was, I think, western produced, but again in that anime style.
Wasn't Afro Samurai an anime series, but Western style?
I think Afro Samurai was western writers, but anime Japanese
artists.
artists.
Oh,
and
okay,
stuff.
okay.
And you see some of that cross pollination just kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
So that is the thing I think that excites me the most.
Yeah.
Is when those two things come together. But
Yeah.
would you watch an anime Lord of the Rings film?
Sure, why not?
Totally,
I mean, I'm
right?
gonna watch I'm gonna watch the Magic the Gathering anime show, so why not? I give it a shot. Are you gonna watch one?
I'm gonna. Yeah. I mean, for me, anything when you get more Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: have you seen the trailer for the new He-Man?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not. The live action one, right?
No, this is not live action. This is the cartoon. Kevin Smith, I believe, is producing it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he's
Interesting.
making
Okay.
a brand new He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It's called Masters of the Universe Revelation.
Ah.
Can I just explain to you what makes me the most excited about
What?
this? They didn't change a goddamn thing.
That's awesome.
He looks the same. The character is the same. Every single character in the trailer,
Yeah.
it's like they just animated an 80s episode.
I love it.
Mark Hamill's doing Skeletor, which I think fucking fits.
Yeah.
But I'm excited, man. Like, Masters of the Universe, He-Man was one of my fucking favorite cartoons growing up.
I was born a little too late for He-Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Born
He-Man
a
was...
little too late for He-Man. Yeah.
I had a fucking He-Man lunchbox and a thermos, and I would drink my fucking juice. I don't know. I always gravitated more towards He-Man than G.I. Joe. Even though G.I. Joe was still up there for me. But I'm excited.
I was a little too late for the 80s cartoons. Transformers was one that I did watch growing up.
Well,
that was still on there. Yeah. But He-Man and G.I. Joe kind of, but He-Man just never was. I never got along.
Never got into it.
Never got into it. I was just too young. Yeah, just too young for that. Just wasn't able to do that. I was right at the cut. I started understanding animation as a kid when Ninja Turtles was around. That's why that is so near and dear to me. Because that's kind of that, and Rugrats and Ren and Stimpy, like that entire 90s thing. I was at, like, that was my bread and butter as a kid. Yeah. But that's awesome, though. That's so awesome. I mean, if Kevin Smith is doing it, why not?
I'm excited.
Yeah. Kind of like the Seth Rogen Ninja Turtles. Can't wait.
I can't wait.
Can't wait. That's going to be great.
And we're going to end it with 2 stories about the same person.
Okay.
Okay. First, I just want to get your reaction for this. So, J.J. Abrams, okay, says
The
that
man,
he learned,
the myth, the legend.
the man, the myth, the legend, says that he learned the hard way when directing Star Wars, The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker, that it would have probably been better to go into that with an overarching plan for the whole thing.
Oh, gosh.
Look,
that just gives these purist Star Wars fans like more to pick at. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, you don't have to say that.
Yeah.
You know what I
here's
mean?
Here's where I am. So I think we are both of the school that I enjoyed the sequel trilogy thoroughly.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
Yeah.
Okay. One, no shit. If you're gonna go into a massive franchise like that, you should probably have an overarching plan.
Yeah.
However, what we got, I felt was good.
Yeah.
And
But it could have been better.
Could have been better.
According to J.J. Abrams, it could have been better. Yeah.
And now he's saying it, but I just thought, God, I would have just dropped it and let it go, man. That you're going on to something else.
Yeah,
but
I
I just
agree.
thought that's a fucking hilarious thing for him to say.
That, like I just said, you don't say that.
Yeah, you're just poking the bear.
Yeah, you're poking the bear at this point. And like I said, you're targeting. It's so funny because you're targeting that purist demographic that's just gonna shit all over that.
You know
And
what's
it's like, dude, just let it go, man.
I
If you would
wonder
just
if
let it
Disney's like,
go.
look, man,
Yeah.
we did these things. And it seems like the nerds are mad.
Yeah.
And then we came up with the Mandalorian, and the nerds are happy again.
Yeah.
So can you just say you fucked up, so that they can trust Dave Filoni more?
Yeah.
And then and I'm sure J.J. Abrams is just like, oh, whatever, man.
Yeah.
I'm J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
The other thing that he's working on, and this I am actually excited about, if it's actually happening, but I don't know if it will. He is reportedly working on a Portal movie.
Oh, nice.
Now, for those of you who have not played Portal 1 or 2, honestly, probably some of the best video games I've ever played.
Yeah.
Fucking Portal 2 is a masterpiece.
Yeah. Portal 2 was great.
Portal 2 is
Yeah.
fucking next level shit. If you want a fun drinking game, folks who are listening, get Portal 2. Every time you beat a level, take a shot
Yeah.
and try to get through that.
Oof.
Because that shit's going to get hard real fast.
That's all bad. All bad.
So, and then for those of you who don't know what Portal is, it's a first-person shooter where you don't have a gun per se that shoots bullets. You have a gun that shoots doors, so you can shoot like a door on one wall, and then you can shoot another one on the other, and you can go through it and come out the other wall. It's fun as fuck, and it's a great time. But I'm excited for this.
I remember when Portal was first released, I had to think to myself, this does not look fun.
No, doesn't.
This looks terrible. Mm-hmm. And God, was I wrong.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Was so good. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if it'd be one of my favorites because I think Uncharted 2 is up there as one of my favorites, if not my favorite. Mm-hmm. But that's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? At the end of the day, when it comes to Valve and Portal,
Half-Life.
Half-Life. I mean, you're talking about the first-person shooter, right?
Yep.
The one that everyone talks about, all these different ones, Doom, but the modern first-person shooter was Half-Life 2.
Yep.
It's still a masterpiece. We're never going to see 3.
Nope.
I don't think we're ever going to see Portal 3.
Nope.
Anything Valve does, you're not going to see a 3.
Well, Counter-Strike has been around for a long time, though.
Right, but I'm talking about, so like...
Oh, like first person... Oh,
Counter-Strike is just a Half-Life mod.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. Like, Half-Life came out, and then they modded it and made Counter-Strike.
Yes.
And without Counter-Strike, you'd have no Call of Duty. You'd have no... All that shit. Day of Defeat. All that was just Half-Life.
Half-Life was addicting.
Half-Life was fucking the shit. Half-Life 2 was awesome. Do yourself a favor. Go back and play those games because they're great.
They really are.
Sorry, I was trying to do something on my computer at the same time.
No,
I'm not a good multitasker.
Multitasking is a myth.
Yes. Jose, this was a fun one, man. I had
good.
fun. I had fun because what I love about these episodes is that they're so easy to kind of just to talk about what we think about these topics.
Yeah.
Right? We do minor research, but the beauty of it is, what do you think about these band names? What do I think about band names? That's the
fun.
beauty of it. It's great. And that's what you get here at the Half Step Down show, right?
You get fun.
You get fun. Nothing but fun and horrible puns and what else do you get here?
Unpopular opinions.
Unpopular opinions, apparently.
Yeah.
Kiss is still an overrated band.
120%.
And you know what? I am going to defend you 110%.
Thank you.
Yes.
Look, again, I say this. I get it. I get why you like it. It's like, you know what I mean? But it's overrated, man. It's overrated.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun. I don't know why I said that. What's going to be fun is next week's episode. Mm-hmm. Next week's episode is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to have another guest on the show. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited for that. Should we spoil it or should we wait?
I was going to say let's wait because I was going to, after we're done with the episode, ask you which one to release in what order if he wants it released sooner rather than later.
Okay.
So let's save it.
Okay, we'll save it.
And you know what? We're going to up our social media game.
Yes.
So that'll be a thing we do.
That'll be a lot of fun. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun to actually understand how social media works.
Yes.
Because we need to do that.
#
Yes.
Road to 100.
No, it's hashtag.
Aha.
Yes. It's not the tic-tac-toe sign anymore.
It's # hashtag.
Yeah. No, it's just hashtag.
Hashtag #.
Yeah. No, it's just hashtag Road to 100.
Star Bat Shelter 567.
Jose, on that note, where can people find us on the internet?
You can go to www.halfstepdownpod.com. That is your one-stop shop for all things Half Step Down.
I just hit myself with the mic.
You okay?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, just making sure.
I hope the mic's okay.
You were good. It's tough.
Because I'm hard-headed.
You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at halfstepdown. Check out the Instagram stories. We're adding some songs to the playlist. We're going to have some good stuff. From the anime episode, I put a bunch on there. It's going to be great. Facebook.com/halfstepdownpod. If you're on YouTube, which I know you are, you can look us up in the search bar, Half Step Down Pod. Might take you a little bit to find us, but we are there. If we get to 100 subscribers, we can create a custom URL, and you can watch us there. Someday we got to get into filming these. We'll figure that out.
Yes. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Check out the Spotify playlist. The link is in the description. And of course, if you like what you hear, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And please help spread the word using hashtag HalfStepDownPod. And then finally, don't forget, in the fall, Half Step Down Radio returns on TitanRadio.org. Time's coming soon.
Yes. Jose, thank you so much for being here, man. I had a lot of fun as always. And we shall see each other next week. Hope everyone takes care of yourselves. Be safe. Take it easy.
See ya.
Yeah, give it up for this guy. Promise. you guys.
Just so we're all clear, that was not like a real song. Okay.
Made that up.